Multifamily Mindset
podcast. Think bigger.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MFM podcast. It's Thursday, and here every Thursday we break down the mental game of success in multifamily real estate investing, and it's one of my favorite days of the week. So I'm pumped that you're here. My name is Dallas Pruitt, and I am the founder of what is called Live Life Mission, an organization dedicated to helping individuals, teams, businesses develop their minds, accelerate learning, and elevate their performance. I am also the resident mindset and performance consultant here at the Multifamily Mindset. And today I want to help you increase your awareness. I want to help you identify the voices inside of your head so that you can make the right decisions that are going to drive greater success. Multifamily investing isn't just about numbers. It isn't just about networking, and it isn't just about negotiations. It's very much about mental clarity and greater mental performance. And your success is dictated not just by the deals, but by the internal conversations that are shaping your decisions. And trust me, these voices that I'm talking about today are a lot louder than you think. In fact, many are very unconscious about these voices. So today we're going to break down these three core voices and the impact they have on every one of your journeys. So the three voices are the inner critic, the higher self, and the voice, what we'll call today the voice of truth. All right. The inner critic is that voice of fear and doubt. The higher self is that voice of courage, that voice of growth, that voice that nudges. And then the voice of truth, we'll call this intuition. We'll call it your higher power. For me, that's God, but a higher power, something beyond yourself. Okay. So let's jump in. Let's talk about the inner critic. The inner critic, again, is doubt, fear, and that voice of second guessing. It's the voice that is saying things to you like you're not experienced enough or you're not ready to do this deal. What if you fail? What if you lose investors' money? The market's way too competitive. You're never going to get an opportunity. Recognize this voice right now. Spend some time even just like thinking about it. How has this voice been speaking to you as of recently? Something you need to know is that this voice thrives on fear. It thrives on keeping you stuck in the same spot, stuck in analysis, what we call analysis paralysis, and prevents you from taking the action that you need to take. Let's talk about a couple different scenarios. So investor scenario number one, we'll call it the hesitant first deal. You've analyzed dozens of deals but haven't pulled the trigger. Your inner critic is whispering to you, you're not ready. You need more education. You need to know more. You need to prepare more. The truth, you'll never, ever, ever feel fully ready, ever. Take it from someone who's lived in that space as an entrepreneur for the last 8 years. The fully ready part never comes. And at some point, you have to take the leap. You have to trust that all the time, all the practice, all the due diligence that you've put in, it's been put in for a reason and it's going to pay off. It's like preparing for a test and then never taking the test. So the action here, and actionable, is to challenge this voice. It is important to learn to challenge this voice. If fear is the only reason you're holding back, well, then it's time to take some action and move forward. Investor scenario number two, we'll call it raising capital fears. You know that to scale, you really need to figure out how to raise capital. You have to not just figure it out, you have to raise capital. But your inner critic says something like, no one's going to trust you with their money. But the truth, investors, they do not invest in deals. They invest in you. And if you focus on bringing value and building trust and then fulfilling on that trust and sustaining your integrity, you will raise capital. That's how it works. So an actionable here is to reframe this fear-based thinking. And instead of, what if I fail, ask, what if I succeed? What if I succeed in all of these things? Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the inner critic. I want to dive into the higher self, that voice of growth, that voice of confidence, and that voice that provides you with the bold moves you need to make this massive progress forward that you truly want to make deep down. Your higher self, it speaks with wisdom. That's one of the best words I can come up with. It speaks with wisdom. It's a wise voice, and it says things like, you can figure this out. Every successful investor started somewhere. Challenges. These are opportunities for growth. This voice is the voice that nudges you toward action. It challenges you to move forward. It's the feeling that says, hey, this deal feels right. Or I should connect with this mentor. The higher self doesn't scream. It's not super loud. It whispers. Let's talk about some scenarios here real quick. Investor, we'll call this scenario number 3, right? We already went through a couple with the inner critic. Let's call this investor scenario number 3, expanding your portfolio, if you will. You're thinking about taking a bit on a bigger deal. It's a 100-unit deal instead of a 20-unit deal, okay? Your inner critic panics. That is too much risk. But your higher self reminds you, you've built the skills. You have the network. This is the next step. And so an actionable here is to listen to the nudge. Listen to it. If your next move excites and scares you, well, then you're on the right track. There's that duality, excitement and scary. You do it scared. Reality check. Everybody, no matter how confident they want to come off, does it scared. It's part of the process. Investor scenario number 4. Let's dive into a different one here. The first cold call or broker meeting. Okay, your inner critic says something like, you're not credible. Only it says it really loud because that's how it works. You're not credible. You should be stressed. You should be anxious. You should be worried. But your higher self says something like, just show up. Just show up and learn. So the actionable here would be something like, take action anyway. Your reputation is something that is built over time. So with that being the reality, every call, every meeting, it's just a deposit. It's a deposit in your credibility bank. And then let's dive in here to close things out because I like to keep these things timely, okay? I want to be respectful of your time. Return on investment here. That's what I try to think about when I think about what we're producing, what I'm producing specifically here on these Thursday episodes, is how can I give you the highest return on your attention and not take too much of it. So let's talk about the last one, the voice of truth, okay? Again, trusting in a bigger plan, your higher power, God, whatever you want to call this for you, whatever it is for you. For me, it's God. The inner critic thrives on anxiety. But this voice, okay, this voice of truth, it is that voice that actually brings peace, even when the road ahead is uncertain. Welcome to entrepreneurship. Uncertainty. Investor scenario number 5. We're going to go through 2 more here. Number 5, walking away from a deal. Okay, you've done the underwriting and something just feels off. Okay, the numbers look good, but in your gut, you sense a red flag. It's strong, it's obvious to you. Something to keep in mind here is that this voice, God's voice, the higher power, whatever it is for you, it isn't loud. It's clear, right? He nudges you toward the right path. So the actionable here with this kind of stuff is don't ignore peace, right? If you feel uneasy, pause, okay? Clarity comes in stillness. And I'll be the first to admit here, this is a difficult one because I also believe, and this is something to note, that as you move closer to massive points in your journey where you're going to be able to impact more lives and do greater work, right? I do believe that the adversarial force actually heightens or is enhanced because that other side does not want you to succeed in helping more people and helping yourself and being happier, more successful, more fulfilled. So that's something to take note of. And then investor scenario number 6, overcoming setbacks. Maybe you've lost a deal. Maybe you're struggling with a partner right now. The inner critic says something like, this is proof. I told you, you're just not cut out for this. But this voice, the voice of truth, right? The peaceful voice tells you this is shaping you. This is for your good. Keep going. Keep your head up. So an actionable here is to just constantly don't be neglectful of seeking perspective constantly. That's why prayer is powerful. Whatever that looks like for you, right? Reflection is powerful. That's why those are 2 standard parts of my process every day. Stepping back, taking a look at everything that's transpiring, removing myself from the noise. And the best investors, the reality is they do this on a regular basis and allows them to trust the process more, even when it's tough. Okay, so some important principles from today that I want to close things out with. 1, your inner critic is a liar. It lies. It uses fear to keep you stuck. Recognize it and challenge it. 2, your higher self is what pushes you. Listen to those quiet nudges that are calling you. That's the direction of forward progression. And then 3, God's voice, your higher power's voice. This is the voice that brings peace. If a decision feels chaotic, step back. Peace leads to the right path. And again, as a bonus here, be conscious of the fact that as you continue to inch yourself closer to bigger breakthroughs, the adversarial force is real, doesn't want you to succeed. Pay attention because sometimes that is a telltale sign. A lot of the time, that's a telltale sign that you're moving in the right direction. My final thought here is that your experience, right, your situation in multifamily investing, again, isn't just about financial freedom because that's what everybody's going to tell you. It's actually about who you become in this process. It's a great path. It's a great opportunity to cultivate higher character, higher integrity, and become the person you were made to be. And the more you master awareness, what we talked about today, these voices, the stronger your decisions will be and the stronger you will become. Thanks for tuning in as always, my friends. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a fellow investor, somebody who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the podcast for more insights. And here is to greater success mentally, financially, in totality for you on your journey here in the multifamily space. We'll see you guys next time.
Multifamily mindset.
Podcast. Think bigger.